Hi, it's Kevin Van Ord here, KVO, and I happen to be here with Ray Musica and Greg Zeschuk with co-founders of BioWare, and we are here to talk about Mass Effect 2, which is a very exciting moment for the show, obviously. Big fan of Mass Effect, and what I really want to do is just start right out with talking about what's new in Mass Effect 2. Give us a quick rundown of what you're bringing to the sequel that we may not have seen in the original.
Sure. Well, maybe one way to frame Mass Effect 2 is it's a dark second act of the Mass Effect franchise, and it's amping up the intensity of the entire experience. And part of what we're trying to do is amp up the intensity of the combat and really make it feel like you're playing a shooter with really precise controls and moment-to-moment cover and gameplay and really smart AI and being able to remove limbs off enemies and still having the animations look really awesome and locking the frame rate, lock it at 30 frames, make it look sweet. And bringing the graphics up, optimizing that, make sure the texture load is smooth, faster elevators, all the good stuff that fans are wanting to amp up the intensity of the experience. We're also doing that for dialogue and the narrative flow. The story is freaking amazing. We're really amping up the way that you get to interact with other characters in the narrative and the dialogue. You get to interrupt them and really become, the Commander Shepard, I think, that players really want to become in this dark second act as a vast new threat. Threatens to overcome all organic life in the galaxy, and you have to take that on. Build a suicide squad that is going to just defeat the enemy.
Excellent. Now, I'm excited enough that I'd really just love to go right into the game and see what you brought for us to see. If that's all right for you guys.
What we're doing right now, and I think what you've probably heard about Mass Effect, one of the goals is to basically get the roughest and toughest, meanest bunch of both humans and aliens together to do literally a suicide mission you're not expected to survive. What's going on here is you're going off to try and find a guy named Thane. Thane's an assassin, sort of a new character race that we're having in the game, and you're basically flying your little space car through the city and landing shortly and then trying to find where Thane is, because he's actually on a mission to get rid of someone. So this is right where it's starting in.
Now, if I recall correctly, Thane is actually part of a new race in the game. Who is this race and what are they up to?
Oh, we're keeping that a little bit quiet.
We'll keep some things stuck to our chest, but the fans are going to love it. I mean, this guy is the best assassin in the galaxy, and you have to build a whole team of guys like that are going to come along with you to defeat this vast new threat that's even worse than the threat you faced in the end of Mass Effect 1.
Excellent.
I think we have an example of the interrupt system in dialogue in action. So it's kind of like, sometimes you want to go through and persuade and kind of like make the conversation go the way you want. Sometimes you just want to punch it up and just get it done, and Commander Shepard just goes ballistic. So
here's a little bit of an example of that conversation.
Tell me where the assassin is, and I might let you live.
Now, obviously, here we're playing as Commander Shepard, our familiar hero from the first game. Will we be playing as Shepard for the entire game?
Well, Commander Shepard is the hero and the protagonist of the game, and I think you're going to have a companion group alongside you that's incredibly powerful, and it's up to you to choose who you want to have come alongside you in the adventure. That's the example of the interrupt. Commander Shepard kind of had it, punched him out of the window. The interesting thing about Mass Effect is that you can die. It's actually really is a suicide mission, and depending on what you do, it's going to affect the outcome, whether you're actually all going to survive at the end, or we don't want to spoil the surprise for the fans, but suffice to say that it's a challenging mission.
A couple things you probably noticed from that conversation, just stepping back a moment, whole new lighting system. You saw just incredible detail, even more so than the original Mass Effect. You're going to see here rock solid frame rate, even better effects, even better graphics than the original. Textures are super high res and tight. All the things that people brought up, and stuff that we needed and wanted to improve on in Mass Effect 1 are totally here in Mass 2. You're seeing other examples of how tight the shooting is. Billy's throwing off some of the environmental objects. We're using full physics.
We've been in squad controls.
Yeah.
Just how we place the characters in your party, different points on the ground. I think we're going to knock off a limb. Oh, so the enemy fell over there, but you can actually take off arms, legs, and the AI of the enemies is really smart, so they actually react accordingly.
Now, of course, I assume that the power wheel from the first game is back, so we can bring that up and maybe even perform some other powers as well if we want.
On this hotkeys, there's the power wheel, and kind of shows you the range of attacks, and things work in tandem. There's actually a lot of cool combinations now of the different biotic powers, technology powers, and heavy weapons and so on that kind of allow you to go into overdrive and really just take this to a new level in terms of intensity. But you can pause and take a thoughtful approach, or you can play it all in real time. It's really up to you how you want to experience it. And that's all, it's in realizing our fans, there's a whole diversity of different different kinds of fans, and a lot of them like shooter experiences and action games. So this game can totally be played that way. I think it's going to be one of the most intense experiences of that type. If you want to play it in a very thoughtful way, you can also do that, and it'll really take your time and kind of use the radio menu to select thoughtful actions.
Have there been any changes to the way?
Some biotic powers
Oh,
there.
of course.
That's a new biotic power.
Have there been changes to the way? I'm sorry. I was just asking if there are any changes to the way the squad system works. Are there new things that you can request of squad mates, or is their behavior going to be any different?
I think during the course of this, Billy, actually, you can separately assign them to locations, and that's one of the big things
Separate
people wanted.
Points,
yeah,
on the ground.
And so during the combat, he's doing it right here. You can see.
There you go.
So you can really have a higher degree of precision and control over the squad mates. And as before, I mean, all their commands are also available on your wheel too.
So it's a cover system there.
Yeah.
Very smart. You can use that to protect yourself.
If he gets the leg out.
So we're trying to take the leg. There we go. So that enemy's still alive. He's crawling towards you. You got to take him out before he gets to you.
You don't want to get
And the
there.
AI is fast and responsive on your teammates and the enemies too. So challenging. It's challenging moment to moment. It's challenging in terms of making morally challenging decisions that have a lot of consequence in how the story unfolds. We've taken that to another level as well.
Now we know that Shepard's on a suicide mission. Curiously, who is Shepard working for, and what exactly is his main aim here?
Well, it's interesting because that's an excellent question that we can't answer because it's an interesting topic for this game.
I'd say if you want some hints on that, there's an excellent prequel novel that gives you a taste of what the kind of shadowy organization that Shepard's going to be involved with in the course of this game. So check it out. You can read about the Mass Effect novels. There's one called Ascension, another one called Revelation. Really good books, written by the lead writer of Mass Effect. And for additional backstory, if you want to get some more backstory on another companion character in the game, we're releasing an iPhone game on it called Mass Effect Galaxy. That has a character named Jacob. Be coming out on iPhone, and actually allows you to play through some of the events before Mass Effect 2 from his perspective. So again,
Ray has it in his pocket.
I do.
Whenever he gets a moment, he's sitting there playing it.
It's really fun.
So pretty soon he's gonna. One of the other big things we've added to of course, the biotic powers with the weapons, and pretty soon Billy's gonna switch to a rocket launcher. So now he's got a rocket launcher.
Heavy weapons.
Guided rockets.
So it's taking out the enemies.
He's got guided rockets.
They have
now.
limitations too, but they're pretty powerful. So we got some guided missiles coming at us, so we got to use one in return, quite a range away.
Should we expect even more weapons? How many different classes of weapons will we see in Mass Effect 2?
I don't know if we're going into detail on that yet, but
more,
save some surprises for the fans, right?
more bigger weapons. More bigger.
I don't want you guys to give too much away. There need to be some surprises.
Exactly.
That's surprising.
Let's just say the fans will not be disappointed. The weapon selection is higher, biotic powers, more combinations than ever. The enemies are smarter, really precise controls, optimized frame rate, texture loading. Everything is ultra smooth, and as you can see, the live gameplay here.
Yeah, so the team's cranking away. This is something that's very exciting. We've said it's going to be early next year, and the development cycle's been going awesome. One thing we remind people, it was very hard getting the entire galaxy on one disc in Mass Effect 1. So now that we're working on 2, we can take everything we've learned and actually, optimize. Yeah, make super solid frame rates. The elevators instantly can take you across the entire galaxy in just a flash. It's incredible. That was a joke to the
Maybe a little less texture pop in, things like that as well. None whatsoever.
You can watch it right now. Basically, we're working to remove all the things that the fans noted as areas for improvement. We're taking to heart. We're trying to make sure this game is super sweet, super smooth, and you can see it right in action here. It's basically how the game plays. We're playing it right now. It's fantastic.
Well, it's certainly Mass Effect, but the art design seems to have taken a little bit of a twist anyway. It looks a little bit darker, maybe a little bit grittier. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, the story is darker, yeah. This is the dark second act of the Mass Effect trilogy.
Well, I think another way to talk, another dimension on that is that, you had a very idyllic view of the universe and then your role in it, and what it was meant to be a Spectre in the first game. This game, I think it's probably fair to say, shows you a little bit of the seamy underbelly of the universe, and some of you get things from a different perspective. I mean, one big thing about just the story itself, as we said, you're gathering the roughest, toughest, baddest people in the whole galaxy, and so being associating with them is entirely different than associating with a nice, happy bunch from the first one. It's quite cool.
You need that
you need that tough.
To take on this vast menace that we're not going to say what it is, but it's pretty bad. It's like threatening all life in the galaxy. And yeah, it's not like Greg said. It's not as idyllic as the first game in the sense that you were kind of entering. Oh, humanity's meeting. Joy of discovery, meeting aliens for the first time. This time now, humanity has a place, and really, you're realizing there's a lot of challenges that you have to overcome. A lot of different aliens interacting in different ways, and threats to them as well. Even the established races in the galaxy, they're under assault as well.
Now you talked about the possibility that Shepard can of course die during this mission. Can you talk a little bit more about that? What kind of things can we expect to see? What choices will we make in the game that can be potentially suicidal for Shepard?
That's a secret. I'm going to save some stuff for the fans.
One thing though, as Ray is, it is a secret, but we never surprise the player with that kind of thing. It's something that we make sure that it's pretty clear what's going on to the player. You got a big choice upcoming, and the implications of what you're doing. So it's never something that surprises the player, but it's certainly going to make the player think. That's actually one of the key things.
I think too is that the Uncharted Worlds, which was an area of feedback we got on the first game, the Mako controls have been completely redone, so you have new vehicle controls. And we also really focused on making those Uncharted Worlds feel handcrafted and exotic and really interesting. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. They're completely optional still, but they're going to enhance the main story arc. So if you go to them and actually do some of the Uncharted World plots, you might enhance some of the backstories of your companion characters. They might actually make the main game actually flow that much better. And maybe that's a clue that kind of answers your question.
Close enough for me. Now let's say I played Mass Effect 1, which I did, and lots of the rest of us have as well. Do we get any benefit for maybe bringing over our save game or our character into Mass Effect 2?
There's a few things that happen, obviously. One thing is that the characters that maybe didn't make it through Mass Effect 1 certainly aren't in Mass 2, and some of the choices that you made are reflected in the game. It's actually, that was one of the, I think, really exciting and rewarding things that I know when we were first trying the game. I know for me, like trying Mass 2 and the initial sequences, and it was so cool because it actually wrapped all that stuff in really nicely. The other side of that, though, is that you don't have to play the first one to play the second. And we do a very good job of setting it up, putting you in the place in the universe and making you understand your context and actually training you and educating you, tutorial, all that stuff. So it's for the players that are familiar with the and have played Mass and brought their saves, there's some really cool kind of stuff that you experience that you otherwise don't see. And it's always really remarkable when you build a game with multiple different paths and you can talk to someone and say, hey, I did this and this, or this person was with me at this time. They said, well, they died in my game, and of course they weren't. It's very, very neat.
And we will be seeing Mass Effect 2 when?
Early next year.
Early next year on Xbox 360 and PC?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, Greg, Ray, thanks for dropping by.
Thank you.
I think we're going to head out to the show floor and see what extra awesome things are happening out there as well. Take it away.